I put together today's practice to boost the mood or lift the spirits, bring energy into the body. But we can really make any practice or any class serve this purpose with just a few simple tweaks. So when we're trying to lift the mood, it's easy to remember that we want to lift the arms. So in poses where we have the option for arm variations, we'll bring the arms up. Another tip is to bring the gaze up. If we're wanting to lift the energy, lift the spirits, then we bring the gaze up in the poses. If we want to keep it more balanced, we keep that gaze level. And if we want to feel more grounded or more calm, we keep the gaze at the floor. And then the last thing that I would encourage you to do is focus on the inhale. When we want to relax and calm the body, we focus on lengthening the exhale. While when we want the opposite response, we just flip where our focus is on the breath. So now we concentrate on the inhale, bringing deep breaths in. So let's get started. We'll start in an easy, comfortable, cross-legged seat. And you can put a blanket or a towel underneath the sits bones, and sometimes that makes it feel even more comfortable. So we'll start by dropping the right ear over to the right shoulder, just gently stretching the neck. And if you want to raise that chin just slightly, deepening the stretch, go ahead and do so. Take one more breath here, in and out. And then we'll bring the head back to center. And we'll drop the ear over to the other shoulder, stretching the neck on this side. Again, if you want to raise the chin just a little bit, deepening that stretch, that might feel nice. And then we'll bring the head back to center. Let's roll the shoulders up by the ears and back. Then we'll do one or two more in this direction, and then we'll switch and roll the shoulders forwards. So just helping to release any tension that we might be feeling in the neck and the upper back. And then we come back to center. To inhale and open those arms up wide, stretching that chest. And then exhale like we're hugging a beach ball. Inhale and open. And exhale. Again, inhale, open the chest, open the heart. And exhale, create that space in the upper back. Let's do two more just like this. And last one here. And this time as we exhale, let's interlace the fingers. Flip the palms towards me and inhale those arms up overhead. So we're pressing the palms up towards the ceiling. Maybe raising the gaze to look up at the ceiling. And then as you exhale, we're going to twist gently to the right. So the right hand comes behind the seat and the left hand comes just in front of the legs, in front of the ankles. So no need for a deep twist here. We're just gently warming up. On your next inhale, we'll raise those arms back up, coming back through center. Exhale, twisting to the other side. inhale those arms up, coming back through center. Exhale, hands come to the knees. And we're just gonna start to what we call stir the pot. So this can be as big or as small of a movement as feels good to you. And when you feel ready, go ahead and switch the direction. And then eventually finding your way back to center. We're going to take the right hand beside us. Inhale the left arm up and over, just a gentle side bend here. So in our warm-ups, we're trying to warm the spine up and move it in all the directions that it moves. So we can take the gaze up to the ceiling if that feels good on the neck. And then we'll inhale, the arms come up and switch directions, other side. And inhale, back up. Good, we're gonna walk those hands forward, just a little forward fold. Let that neck relax. And walk the hands back up. We're just gonna switch the leg that's in front. So this doesn't have to be a big dramatic artistic movement. Just switch the leg that's in front and walk the hands down again for forward fold. And then gently walking the hands back up. And we're gonna come into child's pose. So anybody that feels good to get into child's pose. And in this one, we're gonna keep the knees about hip distance apart. Usually we have the option to either have the knees wide or have the knees together. But from where we're going next in this pose, we want to have the legs about parallel. So we'll sit back on the heels and we'll walk those hands out. Forehead comes to the mat or to a blanket on top of the mat. And we just relax into that pose. So we're still in child's pose, but I've shifted to the side so that you can see the next set of movements more easily. So just for a moment, let's come up to sit on the heels. I'll walk you through and show you the first time, the first round, and then we'll flow through it together. So we're in child's pose. We inhale up onto the shins, the arms and gaze come up, and it's a little baby back bend. As we exhale, we lower the seat to the heels. The hands come behind us, the fingertips point forward. As we inhale, we lift the hips. The head can go back as much as feels good on your neck. And we exhale, lower the seat. Inhale again, rising up onto the shins. And exhale into tabletop. As we inhale, we shift forward. And as we exhale, we're going to lower down to the belly and the elbows are going to go straight back. We inhale into a little baby cobra and exhale back to child's pose. And that's one round. Now there's a chance if your quads are really tight that this won't feel good or even be accessible to you. And that's okay. If you have yoga blocks, you can put those beside you, place the hands on those, and then lift the hips from here. If you don't have yoga blocks, you can use books or shoe boxes or something. The idea is just to raise the floor so that it's closer to you. So let's all go back to child's pose and we'll start this together. Take a deep breath in and out here. And on your next inhale, come up onto the shins, arms and gaze come up. Exhale, lower the seat towards the heels. Hands come behind you. Inhale, lift the hips. Exhale, lower it down. Inhale, up onto the shins. Exhale, all fours. Inhale, shifting forward. Exhale, lowering it down. Inhale, cobra or baby cobra. Exhale, child's pose. Take a deep breath in and out here. On your next inhale, up onto the shins. Exhale, lower the seat. Inhale, lift those hips. Exhale, lower. Inhale, onto the shins. Exhale, all fours. Inhale, shifting forward. Exhale, lowering it down. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, child's pose. Big breath in and out here. Your next inhale brings you up. Exhale, seat towards the heels. Hands behind you. Inhale, lift the hips. Exhale, lower. Inhale, onto the shins. Exhale, tabletop. Inhale, shifting forwards. Exhale, lower. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, child's pose. Big breath in and out here. We'll do one more round. Inhale, up. Exhale, seat to the heels. Inhale, lift the hips. Exhale, lower. Inhale, onto the shins. Exhale, all fours. Inhale, shifting forwards. Exhale, lowers you down. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, child's pose. And just melt into this pose, connecting with the breath. So from child's pose, we'll come back up onto all fours, spread the fingers wide, and make sure the weight's balanced in all four corners of the palms. We're going to tuck those back toes, and we're going to send our hips up and back, right to where the wall and the ceiling meet for our first down dog. We're pushing the mat away with the hands and letting the sits bones go up and back. Let's go ahead and bend one knee, send the opposite heel towards the mat for what they call walking the dog. So just pedaling out this feet. Feeling free to add any other movement that feels good here. Maybe raising up onto both tiptoes and back. Anything that feels good. And then when you feel ready, finding stillness in your down dog. We take that right leg up to the sky. And then we bring it in between the hands, grabbing onto the ankle to help it up there, if that feels good and is helpful to you. And we inhale, coming up into crescent lunge. So in the crescent lunge, the toes are pointing forwards on both feet, and the back heel is off the ground. The knee is not over the toes of the front leg, If it is, just walk that foot forward a little bit. So you have a nice deep bend in the front leg, but you're protecting the knee. So the hips are sinking down, but the hands are raising up. And you can lift that gaze up. See if you can relax the shoulders back into their pockets while still reaching with the fingertips. And then we'll take that left hand to the outside of the right knee and the right hand to the sacrum and just twist. If you want a little bit deeper of a twist than this, you can bring the hands to heart center and bring the elbow to the outside of the knee. Either option is fine. We're just trying to get a twist through the trunk of the body. When you're ready, come back to center. We'll leave the hands on the hips and we'll drop that back knee to the mat. I'm going to switch legs. You stay on the same leg, but I'm going to switch to give you a better view. So from here, we're going to come into lizard. We'll let the toes turn out a little bit to the corner of the mat, letting the hip externally rotate. So just letting the leg come open a little bit. We take the hands to the inside of the foot and come into lizard pose. So if this isn't accessible, again, you can use the blocks or a book and bring the hands here. If this isn't challenging enough, then you can come down onto the forearms and do lizard here. Anywhere in between. Let's stay for 1 or 2 more breaths here. And then when you feel ready, shifting the hips back a little bit to come back into tabletop. Tucking those toes, pushing the hips up and back, coming back into down dog. When you're ready, taking the left leg up to the sky and bringing it in between the hands and coming up into crescent lunge. So if you feel wobbly in this crescent lunge, just walk the legs a little bit wider apart so you're more like on train tracks than on a balance beam. When you have that wider base, it's going to help you to feel a little bit more steady. Again, reaching up with the fingertips and telescoping with the spine while trying to keep the ears away from the shoulders. Maybe taking the gaze up towards the ceiling. And this time we'll take the right hand to the outside of the left knee and the left hand to the sacrum. Gentle twist on this side. If you took the option for the deeper twist on the other side, try it on this side as well. Coming back to center, hands to the hips, and drop that back knee. Untuck those toes. We let the toes turn out to come into lizard on this side. Hands come to the inside of the foot. We shift the hips forward, stretching that hip flexor. Either bringing the hands to a block, to the mat, or to the forearms. And we hold lizard. And then when you're ready, shifting those hips back, coming back into tabletop, and again, shifting the hips up and back into down dog. So this time in down dog, we'll take the right leg up to the sky again. And then we're gonna bend the heel, bring the foot into the seat, and then roll the hips open to come into scorpion dog. So we're looking underneath the right armpit and pushing away the mat with the hands. Come back to three-legged down dog and bring the foot in between the hands. Turn those left toes to be parallel with the back edge of the mat and come up into warrior two. So you hold the warrior two that way. I'll switch sides so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. So in warrior two, the back edge of the back foot is parallel with the back edge of the mat. The front foot, the toes are pointed forwards. The ribs are stacked right on top of the hips. The shoulders are relaxed down the back. And we'll start to move with this. We inhale, straighten the leg, bring the arms up. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Again, inhale. And exhale. One more time, inhale, gaze comes up with the hands. And exhale. You will hold the warrior two while I demo how we go into this next pose. So we're moving into half moon, a balance pose. And we want to probably have a block in front of the front foot. The back hand will come to the hip. We reach down, bending that front knee deeply. Power off of that front leg. Let that hip roll open. And then maybe extending the arm. So this can be done against the wall as well. Get right up on the wall, bend that front knee, and now the wall will support you. If you've never done half moon, I suggest you try it this way first. And then when you feel ready, coming back to standing. We'll come to the top of the mat. And we'll start on the other side. Let's inhale those arms up together. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Plant those hands and step back into down dog. This time, we'll take the left leg up to the sky. Bend the foot towards the seat. And roll those hips open into scorpion dog. So now looking under the left armpit, pushing the mat away. And then coming back to three-legged down dog. And bringing the foot in between the hands. Turning the back foot to come into warrior two. Good. We have the back foot parallel with the back edge of the mat. The knee not going over the toes of the front foot, but a nice deep bend. Our ribs are stacked right on top of the hips, and our fingers are reaching in opposite directions. We'll start to move with the breath here Inhale, straighten the leg, arms come up. Exhale, warrior two. Inhale, arms come up. Exhale. And again. And last time here. Warrior two. Coming into half moon, either against the wall or not. Bringing the hand to the floor or to a block right in front of the front foot. Letting that back leg come up, hips roll open. Maybe extending that arm. If you fall out of the pose, going through all the steps to get back into the pose. Don't try to just throw yourself back into the pose. Take the time and go through all the steps. And when you've had enough, coming back up to standing. Nice big shoulder roll here. So coming out of half moon, now standing back at the top of the mat in mountain pose, rolling the shoulders forwards and backwards, or any movement that feels good, maybe shaking it out after all that work in the legs, whatever feels good to you. We're going to inhale those arms up, and we're going to grab onto the wrist, and we're going to tilt to the opposite side, using that hand to lengthen the arm. And we'll come back to center, switching the grip on the wrist, leaning over to the other side, and come back to center, and let the hands drop. We're going to place the hands right on the SI joint, so the two little dimples in the low back that you see sometimes. And we're going to press the elbows together. We're going to inhale to lengthen the spine and bring the chest up. And as we exhale, we're going to come into just a little back bend, supporting the low back with the hands. And come back to standing, neutral spine. Another option here, if you have the flexibility in the wrist, is to turn the fingers facing up. Not my favorite, but an option. When you're ready, we inhale, lengthening the spine, elbows drawing towards each other, tipping back, really lifting that chest so we're not crunching into the low back, and coming back to standing. To continue with our balancing, now that we've warmed up the lower back just a little bit more, we're going to send all the weight over to the right foot and just lift the left leg up. Just balancing on one foot here. We're going to take the left hand like a serving tray, and we're going to set the left foot, into the serving tray. So this is like the quad stretch that you've seen many, many times, but the grip is different. So the hand is on the arch of the foot, the inside of the foot. And I'll explain why we're doing that in just a little bit. So we want to draw the knees together. And if you push the hips forward a little bit, you feel a nice stretch through here. You can stay right here. This might be challenging enough. If you want a little bit more of a challenge, then you can bring the right hand up. And if you'd like to come into dancer, then we're going to start to kick into the foot. And that will start to tip the body forward. We keep that chest lifted. So the reason we have the grip on the inside of the foot is that we want to open through the chest. And that's possible with the hand in this position. If we have the hand in this one, the shoulders turn inward, and it's limited on how much we can open it. when you feel ready, coming back down to standing. We'll switch to the other side. I'm just turning so you can see better. You'll stay at the top of the mat. We shift all the way over to the left foot this time. The right leg comes up. We make the tray with the right hand and set the right foot inside. Grip on the inside of the foot. Bringing those knees together. Pushing the hip forward to feel that stretch. Option to stay right here. Or to bring the left hand up. And then again, if you're going into full dancer, kicking into that foot to tip the body forward and bring the leg up. And when you're ready, coming back down, slow and controlled. Taking a nice shoulder roll here. Good. We're going to take the feet about mat distance. And I'm going to show you where we're going in case you want to put something behind you, maybe a pillow or a yoga block. So we'll inhale the arms up together. Exhale, bringing them to heart center. And then we're going to let the knees track over those toes. And we're going to drop the seat down to come into yogi squat. So the option here is to sit on a block. We're using the elbows to gently push the knees away. We take the right hand to the floor and inhale, opening up, looking up at the ceiling or the hand. Come back to center. And then switching sides. And coming back to center. No real graceful or easy way to come out of this. Either taking the hands in front of you or taking the hands behind you and coming on to the seat. So however we get out of yogi squat, we're going to come to sit on the heels. I'm going to turn forward so you can see me better. And we're going to do a little bit of breath work here. So we're just going to inhale, raise the arms up. And exhale them down. And inhale, arms come up, gaze follows. And exhale. And let's do a few more like this. So really focusing on that inhale. And letting the gaze follow the hands as they reach up. And last one like this. And exhale, hands come down. We're going to let those hands walk out. I'm going to turn sideways again. We're going to walk those hands out. They're kind of like a Y. And we're just going to let the hands slide forward. The hips are up, the seat's up, and the forehead comes to the mat or to a blanket. And we just let that heart fall forward towards the floor. This is called puppy pose. And then when you're ready, let the seat come back to the heels. We'll come into child's pose. The knees can be wide to accommodate a belly or breast, or they can be together. And then when you're ready, walking those hands back up. Just let the seat go to one side or the other to bring the legs out in front of you into staff pose. So right now we're in a nice right angle. You can place a blanket underneath the sits bones to elevate the seat a little bit. That can help if you have any low back issues or pain, or if you have tight hamstrings. So we're going to come back onto the elbows, and we're just going to lift the heart. Let the head come back. I've heard this called Palm Beach pose, which always makes me chuckle. And then go ahead and let the chest come down. Go ahead and find your way all the way onto your back. Bring the knees into the chest and give them a nice squeeze. And then we'll plant the feet back on the floor. Let the knees drop over to the right. The arms can come out by the sides, or they can come up into goalpost. We're trying to keep the shoulders on the ground, so the left shoulder is still in contact with the mat. If the knees don't rest comfortably on the floor, that's fine. You can always prop them up with a block or with a book or something else. We want this to be restorative and feel good. I want you to be able to melt into this pose as we work on closing the practice. As we inhale, bring those knees back up to center. And then we drop the knees over to the other side. Maybe it feels good to turn the head so it's looking the opposite way of the knees. Or maybe that's too much on your neck today. That's okay. Just do what feels good. On your next inhale, we bring those knees back up to center. Bring the knees back towards the chest. And we're going to reach with the arms either to the outsides of the ankles to come into happy baby. So maybe the ankles are where you can reach. Maybe you can reach the outsides of the feet. Or maybe you take the peace fingers, the index and the middle finger, and hook the big toes. Any version of happy baby is fine. And if it feels good here, you can rock side to side. And then when you're ready, we'll release the feet or the ankles. Let the legs stretch out long. Bring the arms up overhead, reaching through the toes, reaching through the fingertips in the opposite direction, as if you could grow an inch just by stretching. And then find your way into Shavasana. So if you'd like to put on some socks or a sweatshirt or cover yourself with a blanket, go ahead and do so. As we relax, the core temperature in our body starts to drop. If you have any low back pain, you may want to roll up a towel or a blanket to go underneath the knees. Or maybe use a towel or a blanket underneath the head. So whatever will make you comfortable for Shavasana, let's go there now. And just let the feet fall away from each other. The palms turned up, and away from the sides of the body. And go ahead and walk the shoulders down away from the neck and the ears, and gently close the eyes. And just start to connect to your breath, feeling the belly rise as you inhale. Relax back down as you exhale. And we'll stay here several moments. The time for doing is over. And now it's time to just be. Let your body absorb the practice that you just did. And as thoughts start to arise, don't try to push them away. Just acknowledge the thoughts. Maybe even labeling them as thinking, judging, worry, planning. Anything that pops up, giving it a label, and then letting it float away. Start to picture what the room looks like without opening the eyes. Lengthening the breath. Wiggling the toes and the fingers, bringing some movement back into the body. And then when you feel ready, rolling over to your right side, making a little pillow for your head with your arms. Taking just a few last relaxing breaths here. And then using your arms and hands to push yourself back up to a cross-legged seat. And bringing the hands to heart center. My goal for every practice is that you feel better when you finish than you did when you started. And I hope that's true for you today. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Namaste.